In today's Student Success Spotlight, we have Martine. She went from zero to her first rent to rent after 2 months of completing our program. She is now cash flowing £1,000 per month, and during this time, she was working a full-time job as a paralegal and planning her wedding. She was only working on this during her lunch break for 30 minutes a day, and she was able to take on the skills that we taught her and took massive action and applied them. She's a phenomenal woman and did the work and decided to make that real change. If you are in that position where you want to create change, you want additional income, and you want to invest in property, then click the link in the description and schedule a free consultation call with us, and we will see if you are a good fit for our program, the same one we put Martine through in April this year. So please enjoy this interview with Martine, where she is showing you how she went from zero to £1,000 a month. Yeah, so I wanted to know, like, where are you at now? Is there money in the bank?
The bank, I have to say. I just had another tenant who's like moving in, which is why I had to delay the meeting a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she's paid 3 months upfront, which is really good. Yeah, so I'm
Don't
sitting.
you look at that? Okay, so that's amazing. You got 3 months up front now. So I feel like you need to take us back now. What even inspired you to get into rent to rent?
I guess many things. You could start with COVID. I think
Mhm.
COVID was the first time where I realized like job security is a myth.
Mhm.
Um, how good your career is, no matter what. Like with my husband, Anaya, he had to pivot like with his career completely because there
Mm,
was no money in what he was doing. And
mm,
even though like I'm obviously qualifying as a lawyer, so they give you like there's this hope and a surety. But then
mm,
I see AI coming in, writing, drafting contracts. And I'm like, if I continue in this way, is it really stable? And then
mm,
got me to start reading books, and I obviously read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and we
mhm,
I'm saving for our property to buy. And
mm,
I started to see, maybe because I don't know, like sometimes your phone can hear what you're saying. So the algorithm was sending me some YouTube videos, and there was this silly video I watched. Well, at the time I thought it was very silly. And the guy was talking about why are you going to use the government scheme, which was at the time was the one to help to buy. And that
mm,
but we had saved our money in it,
mm,
and he just broke down the whole argument of how it was essentially a scam. I'm not saying I co-sign everything he's saying, but at the time I was furious because I was like,
mm,
hey, he say this is helping so many people, and I was
mm,
money there. And then
mm,
made me pick up a book about poverty, and I started to read
mm,
the Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he
mm,
broke down what an investment is. And I was like, oh,
mm,
we've got our savings here, and it's
mm,
good. We feel like we're choked now and
mm,
haven't even bought our house. But when we buy our house, we're basically going to have something that isn't going to put any money into our pocket, and it's just going to be a drain. And so
mm,
first time where we're like, we need to take out our money. So even though we lost the 25%, but I was like, lose now, but gain. That was
mm,
never too late. That's another thing. Like sometimes like the older you get stuck in your ways. And I was
mm,
so because I was like, I don't want to lose the money that we saved there. But I was
mm,
like, if I can pivot and do something else, yes, I might lose that 25%, but it's like the Bible talks about redeeming your time. So it's like
mm,
time back by
mm,
if I continue in this, I know that it's not going to lead me to financial security. And I think for me, it's about having my freedom because I feel like in my career, there's certain things I can and can't say.
mm,
I work for a media company. So anything I can do can affect the company. So my social media, everything is monitored. And I just don't like that feeling of being like not myself or being controlled how I think. And so that's why I felt like having a business is just a good security. And
mm,
so that was kind of the beginning of opening my mind to maybe not just putting all my eggs in, the legal career, but looking at other options.
No, sorry, I gotta go. Speaking facts over here. So then fast forward to now, you we spoke, I think one time, I remember me speaking to you and a couple of people. How did that come about?
Yeah, I think that I don't even know how I saw what you were doing. I think when
Mm,
I first started, and I was like, "What's this girl doing?" Like, I don't know, like one of the people that I don't know if I even liked anything, but I was watching years ago. I was watching, what's this girl doing? And then after I read that book, something came to mind that, oh, Brenda was doing something with property. Like, I don't know how it just flashed to mind. And I
mm,
had talking to people, even though I knew I was so persuasive, I'd convinced like my friends, and I was like, let's speak to Brenda because Brenda knows what she's. I don't know, she'll do something. And then I
mm,
got you on a call, and then you broke down rent to us, and that
mm,
was from there. My appetite was like, no, if Brenda can do it and people can do it, I'm gonna do it. Like I you gave recommended books for me to read. I bought all the books, read them, and it just
mm,
made. I think like reading books makes you more and more hungry because
mm,
normal people, you just see that, oh, I don't think this can happen. Like you'll see Brenda, but you'll think, but can it really happen for me? And then I
mm,
what helped me was just reading more and more books and seeing more and more people saying the same thing, people from different walks of life. And then that just,
mm,
like just ignited the passion in me, like go
mm,
get it for yourself, think of your family, your future, and just go.
mm.
Yeah.
Okay, girl. Spitting a lot of fire today. So then you ended up on my course. How did that? Yeah.
I think you do, like, were you promoting something? I don't,
Oh, masterclass.
yeah, class. And I think what even happened, we were thinking to do another course or something where we'd seen a network course come up because I think at that time, yeah, the algorithm was just sending me things and we signed up to so many things.
Mm,
We had just paid for another course, which I'm not going to mention the person of that course, but yours was better. Sorry, yours was definitely better. But I was like, oh no, because we had
mm,
just up to that one, and I was like, do
mm,
on a second course. And I remember just speaking to Anne, and I was like, I really feel like it would be so good to do your course. I know we've paid like thousands for this other course, but I really think your course will be the one to do. And
mm,
ended up signing up. I think it was heavily discounted, nothing close to what we paid for the other one.
mhm,
Um, we did went along to the other one, and it was literally a waste of time. It was just them convincing us to pay more money and do another course. So we're like, oh, why did we do this? And then that made me say, okay, I have to. Yours has to work. So
mhm.
and Brenda said, if you say jump, I'm gonna fly. Like any, I have to do it because I was like, otherwise, I've wasted two forms of training for no reason. So I was
Mm,
like,
mm,
best to just hang on to what I can. And I obviously
mm,
committing, and you were serious with us, and that just kind of motivated me to like follow every word you said like gospel,
mm,
literally.
mm. And how much did you pay for my course, if you don't mind me asking?
You know what, Brenda? I don't remember, but I think was it 300 or 400?
Yeah, so it was
I think,
295.
oh my gosh, it was definitely well more than that. It's definitely well. I paid more, but yeah, when I saw that, I was like, let's just pay.
295. So then tell us a bit. Okay, so you did the course now. The course was 6 weeks. And then how long after that did you get this property?
So the course was 6 weeks. And yeah, I was already starting to practice. I think from the last week of the course, you
Mm-hmm.
start doing things. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it took me, I'm gonna say no more than 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2 months to get this one. And I have to say, I did get other deals. I've got my whole folder. I got about 10, literally 10 properties, but maybe I didn't know how to negotiate. So it was a learning process, and you were there negotiating with every single deal. So
Mm-hmm.
by the 10th one, I was like, no, this can't slip through my hands again. And this
Mm-hmm.
been a really good day. It
Mm-hmm.
was really good there. But yeah, I would say, yeah, it took 2 months.
Yeah. So how much are you making now a month on the
Uh,
property? Like, what's the property profiting?
Okay, so this property, let me see, because I've got my laptop here. One moment with the numbers. Right, so what I make from this property, like total income, I make £5,835.
Mm-hmm.
And then my rent is 4,350. My bills are around £500. So I profit just over £1,000 in profit.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Great
Yeah.
stuff. That's great. So from course,
Yeah.
you're making 1,100 a month.
Yeah.
Is that a
Yeah.
good investment?
Yeah. Very good. And I'm still gonna take on more property, so we'll see.
Right,
We'll see.
that's right. And how long did it take you to get your first tenant?
My first tenant, I think we got the first tenant probably the next day. The next day, because we were still building the
Mhm.
build a wall. We were still
Mhm.
building the wall as we were doing the viewings, but
Mhm.
all got taken, and then we just delayed the move-in date so
Mm.
that all we had to do, when two tenants moved in, we were just painting off the last room. But
Mhm.
I had if I had all the rooms ready to be tenanted, I would have got them all tenanted within a week.
Mm.
But just over a week because we were waiting for to
Mm.
finish off the second room, and because we were building, we didn't want to put
Mm.
there and it would be noisy.
Mm.
um we just had half of it kind of that,
Mm.
and just showed them the rest. But yeah, we were able to get two tenants in
Mm.
a few days, and then the rest took a week to do.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned that you had read books, you had spoken to me, but you still felt like you needed a course to
What
kind of help you.
read books? Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yes, because I think it's so important to have mentors. So for
Mm.
me, at it as like just the start of a mentor mentee relationship. Like
Mm.
in my career at work, I have mentors. Spiritually, I have mentors. So it was
Mm.
only that if I want to do something, I need someone who's going to mentor me. And that's what you can get mentors, I guess, from books, but it's not the same kind of mentorship.
Mm.
So that was what I was really looking for, just someone who had the time to mentor me. And yeah, I to me it was worth it.
Mm. Okay. No, honestly, I would say that your achievements have been really great. And a lot of people tend to say they can't do it while working, but I remember you explaining how you did it. Like how was it that you was doing it?
Yes, so obviously I have a busy job, demanding job. Um,
Lord.
so it's a lot. But I think what I did was I had to say that every day I'll do something. And that was literally it. So I was like, every day just do something. Even if I can only give half an hour a day, which is what I ended up doing. And I stuck to it. So for me, it was just the discipline of doing it.
Mm.
So I would take 30 minutes out of my lunch break, and then either it was doing the letters, and then that moved on to doing calls, and I would do that back to back every single day, just like calling all the agents. And then through that I built relationship with them, because they were literally expecting my call, because I would run through the list and it would get back to the same agent. They're like, it's Martine again. I'm like, yeah. So yeah, it was really good just having that. I think it's just a discipline of just doing it even when you don't see what
Mm.
results what you're doing. And in the beginning, I think I was just getting myself to do as many viewings as I could before I
Mhm.
started to mention, oh, I'm doing company let. I just wanted to be familiar with talking to agents and then actually going out viewing properties. And then after that, on the phones, I started to say, I'm doing this is what I'm doing. If
Mm.
that up during the calls. So
Mm.
that's
Oh.
how I found it. Didn't take me too much. I think the hardest part is when you get the property, but we'll get there. I'll get there today, and
Mm.
that's more than enough. And I only did 5 days a week. I wasn't working on the weekend.
Okay. Okay. So, what would you say was like one of the biggest takeaways from the course and the program in general that's helped you on your journey?
what were like, there were so many things, Brenda. Like summarize like one of the biggest takeaways from the course. Um, I'm gonna say, and I no shade, the course is amazing, but I'm also gonna have to literally back up the network group that we have. Like that group there, that WhatsApp group is so vital because everyone's there, everyone's like posting what they're doing, and sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna motivate people, and then they
Mm,
post, and then we all inspire people, and then
mm,
sometimes like, okay, I can't do this deal. Do you want it? Or
mm,
let's joint venture on something.
mm,
The opportunities and just being in a group of people who are kind of similar minded to you, I think that
mm,
helped. And I
mm,
think, of course, what I also liked is that it was live, whereas some
mm,
I've done, they'll say, yeah, it'll be me, I'll teach you, I'll do whatever, and then it's just a pre-recording, nobody's there, but you were actually like, you were like live to answer all our questions, and you
mm,
actually spent time. Sometimes it will even go over, but you literally spent time to ask people like, what are you actually doing? What have you done this week? And not in a like pointing the finger, but
mm,
really I felt like, oh, I'm gonna meet with Brenda on Tuesday. I need to make sure I've done something or I have some
mm,
result to show her. So yeah,
mm.
just those two things were
Yeah.
definitely the things. Yeah.
Okay. No, that's good. That's definitely good and good feedback for me because yeah, I really wanted that network because it's difficult, sometimes when you're new to something, you need other people that's outside of your coach that's
Yeah.
to kind of motivate you as well, which is really good. So now let's fast forward. You've got
Yeah.
your deal, got people in the property. Tell me how's it going?
It's going good. I have to say, like, things will happen. That's the thing,
Mhm,
to be prepared. You have to like this, like I think like this whole thing, like to me, like is so humbling because not a
mhm,
lot of people really know like my story, but
mm,
my like my family moved to Nigeria when we were like quite young. And then I came
mm,
back to the UK with my younger sister, and we were both teenagers. And we
mhm,
afford like because of the value of the naira in Nigeria, even though my parents are also lawyers, they just couldn't afford to send us anything.
mm,
So I had to like start working at 16, 17. We had to like find a place to live, and we actually lived in HMOs. Like that's where it's like it's just so
mm,
home to be like from I used to stay in a box room, like literally not having
mm,
enough to eat, literally just to put myself through university and sending money to family home. And
mm,
now like I can help other people. So for me, like it's so personal. Like I make sure that my tenants feel like they're okay because I really remember when I didn't have enough and I couldn't afford a house and I had to live in a room, and to see
mm,
where now I'm at a point where I'm helping other people by providing them with,
mm,
reasonably price, I guess, for London, but accommodation for them to live in. So
mm,
yeah, thinking about it, was it yesterday? And I was like, wow, like I feel like so honored. Like I don't even
mm,
deserve this. So honored to be in this position where I am now. And who
mm,
would have, who would have thought like 10 years ago when I was in that box room,
mm,
looking like on the four corners of the room, and now to be like the
mm,
person actually, I just think it was just so out of the picture for me.
mm,
Still, I still feel a bit overwhelmed, but I so
mm.
that even though like sometimes it's difficult, like there's maintenance stuff, but just looking at the grand picture, I'm like, it's so rewarding for me to be a part and just, help my tenants wherever I can.
Mm. Okay. And you've sorry, your story basically means that you've gone full circle. Right? Full circle from being in one to now owning one and controlling one. And I guess that gives you that purpose to really provide a good place for somebody and obviously take care of them and provide that service, which is really good. So your ambitions are obviously to get more, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. So I thought, no, honestly, Brenda, the first week was so hard. We didn't eat. I'm not someone that's going to sugarcoat. It is work. Like once you get the property, it's work because you're thinking, like, I had to pay the landlord, my contractors, I have to pay him every 2 months. So I'm
Mm,
thinking I have to pay him £8,700
mm,
in Right. You can't sleep. At that point, I'm like, I cannot sleep. How am I going to get him his money? The rooms need to be filled, blah, blah.
Mm,
Even when I had a short-term tenant, I was
mm,
already thinking, I need to fill, even though the short-term tenant is already in, I need to
mm,
fill a permanent one, which I actually did, and
mm,
get the room while someone else was still in the room. But you
mm,
can't feel like I need to pay the landlord his money.
mm, mm,
The rest of everything was so, it was literally so overwhelming. So it's
mm,
hard work in that case.
mm.
But I think now, at that point, I was like, Martine, are you sure you're going to get another property? Because I'm like, this is too much. Do you really? I'm not ready to come to me. I'm like, I'm not ready for this. I was like, why did I do this? And then I saw the money and my bank account is full again, more than what I had before, double than what I had. I'm like, okay, maybe today I was in the office by 30 minutes. I was already looking at new properties. I was like, look at you, Martine. You were the same person saying you've had enough, but obviously now I've seen like just trust the process, and I didn't quit even though I felt like quitting, but I just
Mm.
through, and now I'm already at a stage where although I told myself I'll wait till January, but
Mm.
come in a month or 2 months and I'm like, okay, I'm looking for the next property now. So yeah.
Yeah. No, it completely happens, and it's so true. Like the first 2 weeks of getting a property is wild.
Yeah.
Like just the setting up, and especially the beginning stages. Like ideally, like what I've shown you guys is eventually you outsource this, but at the beginning you're trying to keep cost low as much as possible, which means it's you now that has to be out there every single day trying to get that property over the line, filling it in and all that kind of stuff. And I remember the second one, when I got the second one, I was just like, oh my God. Like the sleep, and it was further away than the first one. So
Oh,
it was like going there, coming back. You guys lived quite close to this one.
we live like the way you're looking, we
I
live
just
where
remembered because I was driving. I was driving to mine, shopping late. I remember going to Asda at like quarter to midnight, and this was a 24-hour one to get pillowcases, to get all of this stuff. Like it is, like you said, you can't sugarcoat it. It is a lot, but then once you see that money, you're like, okay, this works. This works. Let me go again, sort of thing. So yeah, so you're actually looking for more now.
yeah, yeah. I am looking for, that's the thing, like the deals are just around you. Like I think another big takeaway just from this experience is like moving away from like a poverty or scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset, and
Mm,
literally every single day there are deals. That's what I noticed. Like when I stuck with that 30 minutes a day, and let's say the deal didn't go through, because going through that 10 times, Brenda, I was like, should I just, am I cursed? Is my village, someone in the village cursed? What's going on? Like, but I was like, every single day when I open it, I inspire myself again, because I just open Rightmove and I see new properties and I'm like, oh, this is even better than the one I was angry about that I missed, and blah, blah, blah. So like just again, now I'm putting myself in the pattern of just logging in, I'm scrolling, I'm like, oh wow, Canary Wolf, this one. And I'm like, I want to go bigger and better now. So
mm,
that's like basically where I am. And yeah, it's just amazing. There's so much, like people are coming at me now because they're like, oh Martine, you've got your first property, but why are you sharing on social media? Because like other people are going to start copying what you're doing. And I'm like, let them copy. Like there can never be me. That's the thing. Like a landlord might say yes to you, Brenda, because they just they just like you, but they're gonna
mm,
say to me, even though I might have everything on pen and paper. And
mm,
so like that's what I believe. Like even that's why I'm so public about sharing it on,
mm,
because I'm like, no one can ever be me and no one can ever take what's from me. So I feel like if you're someone that is like has a poverty mindset, then you're going to miss opportunities because you're always holding things to yourself. And that
mm,
but your hands are so full that you're not going to receive an opportunity as well. So yeah,
mm,
that's something that I've developed, which I would say you can't really get from a career, but
mm,
venturing in and doing business and doing property specifically has given me that mindset of there's always a new property that's going to come on the market. Someone needs to sell, whether it's that they've got a new child, they're flying out of the country, sadly maybe an elderly person has passed, there's always new properties coming on the market every single day, and you just need to get one of it. Like literally, that's the
Mm.
you have to have.
Yeah, that comment that you just made reminded me of when you actually got your deal. The landlord wanted you, and he had other people. He had even the estate agent, and he didn't want them. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah. So tell us about that as well, because that must have made you feel a bit more confident as well.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing with that landlord is we both thought that the other person was playing hard to get. So
Mm,
was so difficult. Like literally, I had my sister on loudspeaker. I'm so grateful. Shout out to my sister, but I'm so grateful. One phone was my sister, one phone was Brenda, and my sister was like, "Don't give up, just continue." Because we were negotiating every single point. He did not want to move. He thought I didn't want to move, and
mm,
he was already got like yeah, an agency, and they've already got tenants lined up, but and he was like, when we finally accepted his offer and what he was asking, because he was obviously asking me to pay rent in advance, which I didn't want to do. But I thought this landlord he specializes in just HMOs. So I was like, I know it's probably a lot for an upfront to give for one
mm,
fee, but I was like, but I'm going to do it for the potential, because even during the negotiation when he was like, no, I'm not giving you this property, he was still sending me other properties. So I was like, this
mm,
guy pipeline. So I'm
mm,
like, expecting me, he's sending me more. So I was like, okay, cool. Imagine if I'm in his good books. And so
mm,
that it kind of like just continued to persist. And then after we'd gone through the deal, that's when he told me his whole story with the agent he had. And he was like, why I really just felt like I could trust you. Like as soon as we spoke, I felt like you were trustworthy. And then obviously he found out I obviously qualified as a lawyer. So all those things. And he was like, he had a bad situation with the agent where they had done the reference checks and then put in completely different tenants because he manages the property himself. And he was like, so that kind of already put him at a bad feeling with trusting tenants. And that's
mm,
just like, you're going to always be you. And I feel like there's always someone that's going to connect to who you are. And so when
mm,
I talk the same way. Like you don't try and be, I don't know, this person from Central or Mayfair or
mm,
try to gangster. Like just be whoever you are, because there's always someone, like maybe a geezer, that's gonna give you his house or anything. So you're gonna be able to relate to that person and just make them, that whole feeling of him saying I trust you is because he felt like I was relatable to him.
mm,
And then someone else like that might feel like they might feel they can't relate to me, so then they can't trust me.
mm.
So that's what I'm saying. There's always someone for you in that sense.
No, 100%, 100%. And it's a good point you mentioned there, because a lot of people think, oh, are we not doing the same thing as agents? But
Mm.
there's some landlords that don't literally want to work with agents. They actually want to work with people that they feel like will really take care of their property and have that, that connection with the actual person. So it's all about just putting yourself out there. It's not a saturated market, like you said. There's properties being dropped every single day. So the opportunity is out there, and you just have to move away from that scarcity mindset, like you said, and move to abundance and realize that there's opportunities there. You just have to go out there and get it. So no, definitely, I 100% agree with you. And it's been a pleasure seeing you, and I know you've worked super, 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 super hard to get here after 10 rejections or whatever it may be. I've got all the evidence in the group chat. You've actually persisted and you got your deal. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to helping you along your journey as well. And how is your sister and everybody else? You said you've got a few other people that want to invest with you. Like,
Yeah.
how's that going?
Yeah, it's going good. So obviously I think I mentioned to you that my husband's brother-in-law does rent to rent.
Yeah. Oh
And
yes.
yeah, it's so weird because he was here for the wedding. So obviously we had a talk, and
Mm,
he, like, to me, he was proof of concept. So I knew that it worked, even though he lives all the way in New Zealand. But because
mm,
I knew on that close that was doing it and was really successful, when I spoke to you, I was like, it can work. And
mm,
so or you go online, sometimes till today, I still see people saying, oh, rent to rent is a scam. Even some of my friends were saying, yeah, there's people talking about what you're doing. Rent to rent is a scam. But to me, I could just shut those voices out because there was someone there. Like, it's like action speaks louder than words. And
Mm,
with him, he's seen what we've done, and he's so impressed.
mm,
He's out impressed, like we've out impressed him because he tried to do rent
mm,
to rent here in London and he ran away because he was like, New Zealand, they don't have what's it called, HMO license, Article 4, all the stuff that we had, and he had no kind of like education because he actually started doing rent to rent before he even understood what rent to rent was, because he used to
mm,
MO, and he just thought, oh, why can't I just rent it out? And then he just came up with the idea, and he's been doing it
mm.
for about years, and he's
Wow.
very wealthy and successful from it.
Mm,
So when he saw what we did and how quickly, he was like, oh wow, I told him, obviously I have a mentor, he's helped me. Like, wow, that's really, really good. And
mm,
he's like, okay, I want to invest with you, with you guys. Just tell me when
mm.
property, I'm going to become an investor. So it's really good news. So many people. I have another meeting this weekend with someone who potentially also wants to know about rent to rent and could either be an investor or wants to get started. So
Mm,
yeah, there's so many people just messaging me from it. And
mm.
yeah.
So this shows, a lot of people say I don't have money.
Yeah.
Have money. And it seems like you've been able to get a lot of investors.
Yeah. And crucial for us because obviously we had the wedding, so we needed investors. Like, I used an investor to get this deal. And
Mm,
so like with my husband, like he's Albanian, so like I don't know if you guys know Albanians, but they're very, very proud about
mm,
their own thing. Like they
mm,
never like to ask for money or to use
mm,
card, all these kind
mm,
of things. So it was a big hurdle because like with Anea, he was like, no, let's use all our money or just our money or wait till we've saved all this. And we're like, rather have like 50% of something than 100% of nothing. So
mm.
we had to find a way to just go out, get investors, and yeah, now we have them lined up. And now it's just about finding deals now.
Yes. And a lot of the time, I remember when I was told that finding deals will be the hardest thing. And I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? But after you get your first deal, the money starts coming in quicker than the deals. Now you've got money waiting, and now you've got to find the deals. And I never thought that would be the hardest thing to do, but it's
Mm.
the hardest thing to do. You got to find one that stacks up,
Yeah.
and give them their returns they want. So that's definitely the next challenge. But I'm sure you and your husband will be fine. You'll be fine.
Well, I hope so. Thank you.
I hope you will be fine.
It'll be
You're fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. So I guess what's next is just keep growing your portfolio and then eventually purchase your own investment
yeah,
property. Right?
yeah.
So how much are we going for? How many more rent to rents do you need?
Do you know what? I think now, because like with Anea, he's not really happy in his job. So
Mm,
our first step is maybe thinking about him doing this full time. So we
mm,
want at least five in total rent to
mm-hmm,
rent, replace his income.
mm-hmm.
Uh, and then yeah, we should be from there. I guess maybe we'll initially I was thinking only to stop at 5, but now that we've started it, I think maybe we'll get 10 rent to rent, and then at least so we have that cash flow coming in, and
Mm-hmm.
then start looking at doing some other strategies.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So yeah, I think that's a solid plan. Especially if they're cash flowing at least £1,000. If you get 10, you can have like £10,000 cash flowing in, and then look at other strategies. 100%, definitely diversify so you have different assets and different types of revenue to support your business. So yes, thank you so much for spending time with us and inspiring other people. And what's amazing as well is because you've shown me because I had this in my mind. You know, I've been doing it myself, and people have come to me, like you've come to me before and told me to coach, and I was just like, I can't coach anybody. Like, I'm still trying to build my own thing. You know, I thought in my head I needed to have loads of money before teaching anybody anything. And just in that period of time of like, oh, let me just teach people, because people keep asking me questions. And then you've now shown me that the concept is there, the system that I've used, that I use myself, you've used, and now you've got the same outcome that I got, which can prove to people that it works. It absolutely works, especially if you have that motivation and you're persistent with it, you can make it work. So props to you. Thank you for working hard and showing that it works. And it's for everyone, literally everyone can do it.
Yeah, agree. Thank you, Brenda.
No worries, no worries. And say hi to your husband as well. I'm going to stop recording.
Okay.